roll off. We need dice.
I have no dice.
I rolled a 6.
Well, I rolled a 7.
Now we know who's cheating every game.
Oh, Skaven player.
And I got a 4, you got a 3. Welcome everyone to this week's Tip of the Spear, our Spearhead-centered podcast, where I think we're on maybe episode 16. I think maybe we're on episode 17. I'm just covering my bases.
Just say
one
every
of those
number.
is correct, yeah. In this week's episode, we are going to be discussing the Disciples of Tzeentch Fluxblade Coven. The reason I've had to tell you what the specific name is, very soon they will have a second one. Before we begin talking about those Disciples of Tzeentch and finding out their destiny, what has your destiny been this past week there, Robin?
I came second at the Spearhead tournament.
You know how you could have, built it up and been like,
No.
We did a tournament. I did well. I won 3 games. I was undefeated.
People didn't know I won 3 games. I might have came second and lost.
You might, but you didn't. You won all of your games with your...
My Idolef Deepkin. As we've been finding out, I still can't believe that when I initially looked at the Spearhead, I was like, that Spearhead looks a bit middling. Probably one of the best Spearheads in the game. It only really has one weakness, and that's its control score.
But you kill everything in their army. Doesn't matter what your control score is.
You have a control score of 1. If everything's dead, you're still holding that objective. And I personally think I didn't roll amazingly, and I still pretty much wiped all of my opponents every time. So that speaks volumes for the Spearhead.
So you played against the Hellsmiths of Hashut.
Fire Slayers, and then the Skaven, the Nor pack, so not the big cannon one, the Rat Ogres, and the Cavalry Hero one, which I think is the slightly better of the two. All pretty close games in the end. I really struggled against some things. I think against the Fire Slayers, I barely had anything left at the end.
Yeah, if they roll well and they do well with their mortals are maybe another one of your weaknesses.
I probably misplayed slightly and didn't straight away just jump on the really good combat one.
Yeah.
And I got punished for that.
Do you know why, Robin? Because you just look at them and go, they're all the same. They're all just...
Well, to be fair, the person I played against, he had done a really good painting job.
And
kit bash
as well. So because I looked and went, they've got the shields from the Nurgle war cry unit. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then the general looked kind of more like a goblin or...
Yeah. I was just more impressed that it was really funny. He had a goose and a badger, and the badger was called Maverick. Which is why I voted for him in the painting competition.
Well, what I learned is basically, if you want to win a painting competition, make sure you play Robin, because the first, there's the prizes for the top 3, and you played 2 out of the top 3.
I played first and second.
I was also at said tournament.
Didn't see you.
Luckily, we didn't have to play. We were both very happy about that.
I'm very happy about that.
I went undefeated. I have entered that same competition at Warhammer World, kind of a one-day, weekday one, where you have 3 games. The first time I entered, I won, drew, and won. The third game against you, and you got grumpy because I made some good charges against your flesh eaters. Yep. The second time I entered, I won, drew, and won, playing Nurgle twice in the first 2 games. And this time I won, drew, and won, and I played exactly the same first 2 opponents with exactly the same army. They had Nurgle. And I'm like, what are the odds of that?
I mean, I think it's karma for the amount of times I've had to play your sucky Nurgle, that you're finally getting it back.
That's fair enough.
And you know what's crazy? How many times have you played Nurgle? 20, 30 times?
Oh, with them?
Yeah?
Yeah.
You learned something new.
I learned something new. I was doing a rule wrong. So thank you for the person I played in my second game for pointing that out, because he was doing his disease, and he had 4, and at the end of the turn, he'd killed all my units in combat, so he had the 4. And the way I've been playing it is, those disease points are kind of wasted, you're not in combat, you can't give them out. And then at the end of the next turn, he had 7 along with that 4. And then he pointed out that the rule never says you lose them. And I read it, and I was like, you're right, actually. Never says unspent ones are gone or anything. It's not like hits in this turn, it's just every time you roll a crit on a hit, it's a disease, so it's actually made Nurgle even better for me.
Slightly better.
So I'm happy.
Nothing game breaking, but it means that, like you say, if you've had 2 in a battle round, And potentially you might be able to carry them over and reach 7 in your later one.
You could either choose not to spend those 2 if there's just no strategical advantage and hold them into later. So, yeah, really interested in that, actually. So, yes, that was the one I drew, that second one against Nurgle. And my last game was against Iron Jaws. I took the new Nighthorn. And they are, I think, very good at the start, but as nothing comes back, if they can whittle you down, you got to hope you had a fast start, basically. So, overall, I came 4th, you came second. Really good event, yeah.
Pretty good.
Best part was not having to play each other.
Yep. Yeah, that's always a nice one.
But moving on from good competitive armies, let's talk about Disciples of Tzeentch.
Fluxblade Coven. You get 6 units, so quite a bit, really. You get your General, the Magister on Disc of Tzeentch. You get a unit of 3 Flamers of Tzeentch. You get a unit of 3 Screamers of Tzeentch. You get 5 Zangors. You get another squad of 5 Zangors. And then you get 10 Caloric Acolytes. So you get a fair amount of bodies on the board.
And unlike other ones where you get a lot, you get them all from the start. Nothing comes in later. They're all on the board. So you feel like you have a lot of board presence, especially when you're up against an army with maybe just 4 units.
Probably one of their only strengths if they can really flood the board quite well. And if an army doesn't manage to kill you off quick enough, you've got a lot of stuff.
For their battle trait, I do think they probably have one of my favourite in principle. In practicality, it just depends how you roll, doesn't it? But
yeah.
It just sounds really cool. So, at the start of the battle, you roll 9 dice and put them to one side. These are your destiny dice. During the battle, instead of rolling a dice for one of the rolls for the list opposite, you can pick one of the destiny dice and use it as that roll. Once the destiny dice has been used, it is discarded. If you want to replace a roll for a dice that uses more than 1d6, you must use the same number of destiny dice, e.g. you would need to use 2 destiny dice in place of a 2d6 casting roll. Rolls that are replaced count as unmodified rolls and cannot be re-rolled or modified unless noted. And the 6 things that you can use them for is casting rolls, run rolls, charge rolls, hit rolls, wound rolls, and save rolls. Your save rolls must still be modified with any rend. So a lot of things. There's not much that you can't not.
Basically,
Ward is kind of the crucial thing for me. Would be lovely if you could.
Obviously, any kind of like priority roll or
roll
insane. For underdog and things like that. But yeah, that would be quite powerful.
Wards will be nice because sometimes you're like, I need that model to live on 1, and so you can put up that 6 on the ward.
Yeah.
But not all your whole army's got wards, so still saves is nice.
You can do it for saves.
Yeah.
So obviously you only get to roll 9. And it is one of those ones of, if you rolled 9 6s, it would be brilliant. But how often do you roll 9 6s? You could unfortunately also roll 3 1s, a couple 2s, and a couple 3s and be like, wow, that doesn't actually really help me in anything.
Unfortunately, like anything really below a 3, the only useful thing I can think of is guaranteeing a charge. If you're like, I need this charge, I'm 3 away, I'm going to waste my 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Just so that charge happens. Other than that, unfortunately, not a lot of your army probably hits on... Well, I don't think anything in your army hits on better than a 3.
Yeah, nothing is better than a 3 or a 4.
Nothing pretty much saves on better than a 4. So... Basically, your 5s and 6s are a premium with this army.
I mean, realistically, the only other thing is, I suppose, if you need a unit to die, you could potentially put a 1 on a save.
Yeah.
Very niche way of using it there. But you could potentially fail at, if they potentially want to be in combat with you to score points or something like that.
Or you've got to have a model die, you've got dig to graves, you've got to have one of your models on that side die, you're like... That model's dead. I'm taking that off. Yeah, there are plays for the lower ones, but obviously you're just hoping for high ones.
Yeah, I mean, I would much rather have 9 4s, 5s, and 6s.
So really cool ability, but once you've played it a few times, you realise that just depends on your luck of the roll.
Yeah. What really excites me is, we probably spoke about it when we actually spoke about the new Spearheads. I'm really excited to see what their battle trait for the next one will be.
I would assume it will be different, because pretty
Yes.
much all of them have been. And it might just be what's different about their army when they get the new book, if there's just a different rule change for how their destiny works.
Yeah. Like you said, I think it's one of the most original Spearhead abilities. It's completely different, and it doesn't really interact with the game how any other one really interacts. Whether it's good or not is a different story, but...
Moving on to their regiment abilities, they have translucent forms. Roll a dice each time a friendly Calorak Acolyte model is slain in the combat phase. On a 4+, you can return one slain model to the friendly Zangor's unit wholly within 9 of the slain model. Now, when I first saw that, I thought, that sounds like a very hard thing to do. You've got to have your Zangor unit wholly within 9. Bearing in mind, you get 2 units of 5 of them. So you've got to really think about where you're going to put them. And it's on a 4-up, so you could lose those models and not get any benefit at all. Having said all that, if you can pull that off, that is an incredibly good move, because that unit of 1 health that is reinforced, so at the end of the day you probably want it to die anyway, comes back as a 2 health unit. And that unit doesn't have reinforcement. The play that I did with that is I charged in my Zangors, both the 2 units, into a combat. They both then lost 2 to 3 models, because they've got 2 health each, so that's a bit of, not got a great save, but they've got a bit of health to chip through. They then retreated, charged in the Acolytes into a combat that I was like, kill them, please. What else are they going to do? Because they're not about shooting, but I don't want that. I want them to die. And I had the 2 units kind of in the either side of the corner of the Acolytes. So every time one died, took one off, rolled that 4 up, and I ended up with 2 full units of 5.
Yeah.
Now, that is not going to happen.
That is like the optimal play.
That is the optimum play, and I had a game when it just worked perfectly, because the Acolytes got wiped, the whole unit came back, and I had all my Zangors, and that is... So, like, no models have died, and it was like 2 rounds of combat worth of their big attackive thing killing stuff. And I was like, amazing.
Yep.
However, really planning that, have it that it works perfectly. They could have just wiped the Zangor unit, that's it.
Yeah, if a player just goes, oh, I know you got that ability, I'll just make sure I wipe 1 unit, I won't spread the damage.
Yep.
Very easy to sort of play around.
And I had to position them so well. So I was doing this against Sylvaneth, and Sylvaneth have not got a lot of models, so it wasn't like I needed to worry about lots of things that would then charge into that unit that retreated and are vulnerable. But you really, really have to plan for that very, very well.
Yes, I think it, like you say, it has the potential to be really good. It also, someone could just charge in when you've not positioned well and wipe a squad of Zangors, and you're like, well, that was...
Yeah. Well, I don't know what else you're doing about that. Or you just, you lose that unit of 10, and unfortunately you only rolled 2 or 3 4-ups.
It's a weird one.
It's a really weird ability.
Could be really good.
Could do nothing.
Could do nothing.
Your other option is the Eternal Conflagration, which is add 1 to the Ren characteristic of ranged weapons used by the friendly Flamers of Tzeentch unit.
So that's like your main shooting unit of the army?
And they are very good because they do have D3 damage. However, it's one where if
they get 9 shots.
Yeah, and if they get charged early and die, or just locked in combat, they don't have shooting combat, that is your whole regiment ability used. Yeah. I initially chose that for the first few times I used Tzeentch, thinking D3 damage.
Something in my army needs rend.
Something needs rend. Something needs to shoot that thing that's going to do the damage.
But then I think if you pick that ability, people go, oh, well, the flamers need to die.
And you don't want your flamers to die.
Yeah. You kind of put a target on them.
Yeah.
At least with the other one, you're putting a target on half of your army. And if they're just going to kill half your army anyway, they're just going to kill half your army. Nothing's stopping them from doing that.
So I think if you want a straightforward game where you don't have to think too much, I'd go for the Rend. If you want one where you're really going to have to plan everything and hope it all works out as you like, I'd go for the Returning the Models.
I think the Returning the Model ones is the better one, but like you said, is probably also harder to pull off. At least the Rend one is just, well, I've got Rend.
I've got Rend.
Hope that you
hide them behind everything, and
it'd be nice if they had a bit better range to maybe take advantage. At the end of the day, anything getting extra Rend is always nice.
Yeah, on an army that basically has no rends, who needs something that's going to punch through that hard to damage unit.
So moving on to enhancements then. You've got Shield of Fate. Your hero phase. Pick a visible enemy unit wholly within 18 of your general, then make a casting roll of 2d6. On a 6+ until the start of your next turn, that unit has a 6+ ward. If that unit already has a ward save, add 1 to the ward roll for that unit until the start of your next turn.
So basically all of your demon units have got a 6-up ward, nothing else has. So you're kind of giving those few demon units a 5-up ward, and you're giving a 6-up ward to everything else.
I mean, it's nice. It would be nice if it just sort of happened. I don't think giving something a 6-up ward's horribly broken.
No.
18-inch range is nice, so you can ideally get most of the board. You've got a really mobile general, so he can kind of zip around a bit. I think it's pretty so-so.
6-up is reliable, you're going to get off, at least. He can do it on himself,
Yeah.
which is nice as well. It's not the one where you go, well, everything's dead, at least he's doing it on himself.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's reliable.
Yeah.
Then you've got Glimpse the Future. If you have fewer than 6 destiny dice, make a casting roll of 2d6 on a 7+. You can roll a dice and add it to your destiny dice.
So, this one is one that I think I tried in on one of our very first games with Tzeentch, and deliberately kind of used, I'm going to charge with that unit. Here's a 1 and a 2. Dice used.
Yeah.
Didn't need that, didn't want that charge. Just rolling a charge for the sake of using the dice so that I'd use enough to be able to do that spell. But your problem is on a 7-up with the spell. So you're having to get 7-up on a spell, which is not great. And then you're rolling a dice, which could just be a 1.
Yeah.
You're getting to do that maximum of 4 times a game because it's just your hero phase.
If you go first, you are not doing it because you would not have been able to have lowered yourself below 7. Obviously, later rounds you've ideally used more, and that's when it would probably come in clutch. But again, you could just, you know...
That's when you don't get the 7-up and you don't get it anyway.
That one seems maybe like a bit of a trap. It sounds pretty good, but actually, it's either going to win you the game on that one save that you need to make a 6 and you get that 6 that you weren't going to get the other, or more often than not, you're going to roll a 3 and it's going to be like, oh well, I maybe, I don't know, we'll make a charge, or I'll get 1 extra hit in.
If that was just...
You do it. Or you got D3 dice back or something, or maybe you get to re-roll a destiny dice. So if you've got a 1...
Brilliant.
I know, I suppose adding 1 is better.
I suppose adding 1's better than replacing one of those. Because then you just wouldn't replace it, but then that's a waste of an ability. So I just don't know what place that is. If you're a lucky player, pick that. But if you're not, then don't.
Yeah. I suppose the only other problem is as well, you don't know what you rolled in on your destiny dice before you get that. So you could end up rolling all 1s and 2s on it and go, well, I'm never going to use them.
Again, you use them for charging, don't you?
I suppose you could just be like, my charge phase... They rolled a 3, they rolled a 3, they rolled a 3, they rolled a 3. I've got no destiny dice left.
Like I say, even if you don't want that charge to happen,
you
just go, my general's literally at the back of the board. He's not within 12 anything. I use a 1 and a 1. He charged, he failed, dice used, used up. So that in that sense, that might be good, because that's the thing that's meant that you've actually got a few decent ones, potentially. But it just feels so luck-based.
Yes. Moving on. You've got the Demon Heart. Pick an enemy unit within 1 of your general. Inflict an amount of mortal damage on that unit equal to the number of the current battle round. So, not bad. Not great at the beginning. Pretty good towards the end.
As long as your general's still alive.
Yeah.
So, I used that when I did quest. But the only reason I chose that is there a quest for your general killing their general. And that basically guarantees me doing... mortal damage for the round. So I think I did it in the 3rd battle round. He had a hero with 3 health left, and I went, he's dead. I didn't have a ward, that was it. There's nothing he could do. He scored me the quest. Excellent. Would I be picking that in a game normally?
I think it depends on the army. Like you say, your general is fast enough that against most armies, he probably can run away and avoid things. Because he's got a shooting attack, so he could still be kind of engaged until the 4th. Some armies, yes. Some faster armies, no, because they'll catch him. They'll manage to catch him down like a Nighthorn, the new Deepkin, or there is a few faster armies that will catch him. But a slower army, yes, you could probably definitely have just run circles around them and then just jump in at the very end.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, I suppose you could always wait till the fourth battle round and fail your charge and you've got no Destiny dice. And then not be in combat. You've got to be in combat to do it.
I could see that being one that... Because the amount of games that you play that you've got like, oh, well, we're both really depleted on that objective there, and he's got 2 and I've got 2 and I really need to take it, and you go, right, General hops in there, does 4, killed the unit, scored.
I mean, like I say, the other way to look at it is, I need my general to survive. Well, it's before combat. It's any combat phase. They could have got a charge in against you that you didn't want, and you go, oh, I really need my general to survive for this card or this tactic or whatever. Here's 3 mortals, here's 2 mortals.
Yeah.
And it kills them just enough that your general lives. That's another way of looking at it as well.
Yep.
At the end of the day, it's not on a roll, it's nothing like that. It's guaranteed mortals, which is very devastating to some armies, especially ones that don't have wards, that are elite armies. As much as all these abilities are looking out, which is very thematic, you kind of have to really, really plan for these abilities to use them properly.
You do.
And I think this is another one that, if you can plan it really well, like you say, he's not the best in combat, but you can go into a wizard or a small fighty hero and go 4 mortals, and then he has got enough combat damage to back it up with killing it.
I have shot them first.
Yeah.
Done a little bit, charged them in, done that bit more, done the combat, killed it. Yeah.
And last one, the Time Slip Pendant. Pick an enemy unit within 9 of your general. It's only once per battle, any combat phase. That unit has strike last this phase, which is a good ability. Obviously, it's once per battle. It's within 9, not wholly within 9, so there's a bit of play to it. Obviously, anytime you're giving anything strike last, it's always a big boon, and typically you have to be in combat with it to do that.
I literally look at all of them, apart from the ward. The ward obviously is a ward. I look at all of them and go, so situational. The other 3, you're going to be like, well, I'm so glad I chose this, or what did I choose that for? It's done nothing.
Yeah.
My general died before he got to do it. I gave strike last, but my army did no damage to them anyway. It didn't matter that they were strike last. I got my spell off, but then I rolled a 1, or I just didn't get the spell off. Or, like you say, first battle round, I've just not used any, so I'm not doing it.
They are a pretty lackluster bunch there. None of them really scream. Ooh. Normally when you look at a list, you kind of go, yeah, there's a clear one that's like really good, and then the other 2 are sort of middling, and then one of them's a bit situational. Unfortunately, all of them are pretty situational, outside of, like you said, the ward one. But even then, you kind of go, it's a spell, so you can fail it. And then even then, you're potentially only given a 6-up ward, or them making it a 5-up ward, which 5-up ward's nice. But on the army, a 5-up ward's not going to make a huge deal of difference.
No.
So I guess if I was to rank them, I would probably put mortals on the battle round, just because doing 4 in the last battle round is particularly nasty. Then I'd probably go the strike last, then I'd probably go the ward, and then I'd probably go the Destiny dice.
I would completely agree. There's not, like you say, there's no strong out winner, and there's no would never take you. I could see you taking all of them for perfectly good reasons, and hope that they do something. But unfortunately, you could very easily have a game where they do not do a lot to anything. But they could also do a game where they're really pivotal and do so much for you. So you pick one, don't rely on it, and hope it. And if it happens, brilliant.
You could get 4 6s from the Destiny dice one. Brilliant.
Which game changing, like you said,
Or you could just never cast a spell.
Which is more often likely than not.
Or you could cast a spell and just get 4 1s.
Yeah.
So, spoke about him a lot. We'll go on to the general now. The Magister on Disc of Tzeentch. So, pretty fast. He's got a 14-inch move. He's also flying. And a cavalry unit. Only 6 health. So, pretty standard for a hero. 4 save and 2 control. So, not a terrible little combat general there, really. Not the most tanky in the world. I think, obviously, his big advantage there is his 14-inch move at flying.
Yeah.
Like we said earlier, you can run around and avoid stuff.
Yeah. And 4-up save's not bad, but no ward,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So if they got a way of getting through that save, or just decent amount of rend, he's not sticking around long if he's caught in the wrong type of combat. I always like 6 health because you're not going to get eaten by a Carnosaur.
Yeah, there is that bonus. Like we said, he's got a ranged attack, 18 inches, 1 attack, 3s to hit, 4s to wound, rend nothing, D3 damage. So a nice little bit of poke damage, I guess, but you can't really rely on it. And that's maybe the type of one where you swing round the back and you try and shoot a little wizard just to chip it down a bit.
My favourite part of that is when you had to be like, rend, nothing.
Rend, nothing.
So when you do the rest of the army, please make sure that you say rend, nothing, on that attack.
I'll be saying nothing a lot. He's got 2 melee weapons. He's got his sword, 3 attacks, 3s and 4s, rend nothing, D3 damage. And then he's got his discs, teeth, and horns. 2 attacks, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, rend 1,
Hey.
D3 damage, and it is a companion. He gets essentially 6 D3 damage attacks, which sounds okay, but then you go, everything's some version of 3s and 4s with not a lot of rend.
And it's the horrible one where I don't understand why they do this. And they do. I'm swear they do this just to confuse me. Because the first attack is 3s and 4s, the second attack is 4s and 3s.
Yeah.
So I will always have to check up his war scroll because I don't want to do the wrong one because one's 3 attack with no rend and one's 2 attacks with rend. I don't understand why they couldn't have just been 4s and 3s or just 3s and 4s.
I think they just like when it's companion, they like to change it.
But
it just messes
me.
I know my Deepkin stats off by heart, but I always need to be 3s and 4s and then 4s and... He does have one ability, Bolt of Change. Pick a visible enemy unit within 18 of this unit to be the target, then make a casting roll of 2d6. On a 6+, inflict d3 mortal wounds on the target. If any models are slain by this ability, you can pick a friendly Zangor unit wholly within 18 of this unit and return 1 slain model to that Zangor unit. So, 18-inch, nice little poke, d3 damage, and then you also get to return a friendly Zangor unit wholly within 18 again.
Again, really generous. You're just situational of you've got to make sure you're killing a model.
Yeah.
So you've got to hope there's just a juicy 1 health model unit there that you can do, and then you've got Zangors that are injured that you can do. Yeah. But yeah, really nice spell.
It's a really nice little spell.
6 is pretty consistent.
The fact it's 18 as well means you're doing it turn 1 outside of some really shocking deployment. Like I say, most heroes just have a D3 poke. At the very least, you've got a good chance at bringing something back again. Just unfortunately, just kind of put more targets on the Zangors, so you just kind of focus the Zangors down a little bit more. But yeah, that's the general.
Yeah, I think he's a good general for the movement. That's the biggest thing. Everything else is just he does a little bit of every single thing. None of them exceptionally well, but he has something of...
I think with him, you just essentially use him. You fly him around doing stuff. Yeah. Hopefully scoring you some cards, doing a little poke damage with his magic and his spell.
Hope he doesn't get caught.
Yeah. Maybe give something strike last. Maybe, do a little bits and bobs here and there. But yeah, he's nothing really to write home about, especially combat-wise. Going
on to your Acolytes. You move 5. You've got 1 health, 1 control score, and a save of 5. So you have 10 models in this unit. So basically 10 health. And they are reinforced. They weren't originally.
Yep, that has been errated in. They probably needed it.
They really needed it. Especially when you, again, now your players, you want them to die. If they weren't reinforced, I would never have chosen that ability for Zangors to bring back in this unit dying. Because this unit actually is not terrible. Because they do have a shooting attack, which is 18 inches, 1 dice each, so 10 overall, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. So they can do a little bit of damage.
Yeah, a little bit of shooting chip damage, yeah. Especially if they're in against a lower save thing, they should maybe do 2 or 3.
And in combat, they get 2 attacks, hit on 4s, wound on 4s, no rend, 1 damage. 20 dice, 4s and 4s.
10 and then down to 5.
Yeah.
And no rend, not brilliant again. But not terrible. Depends what you're going into, I guess.
Yeah.
Against an elite army, it's not going to be very good.
I mean, luckily you can give them some rend with their basically magic, so you can make a spell with them on a 6+ and add 1 to the rend characteristic of their shooting attack. So that's what makes kind of that one a bit better, especially compared with the whole army.
Yeah.
And actually, it's another attack that does get some rend.
Potentially, you've still got to cast that spell.
These are, again, I just play these as a go in and die, come back, be 10 objective control score, and try and bring back your Zangors with them.
Yeah. Next, you've got Screamers of Tzeentch. Again, a 14-inch movement, so pretty fast. 3 health each. You've got 3 in the unit, so 9 health altogether. A 5+ save and 1 control score each. And they do have a 6-up ward. And probably the most interesting thing about them is they're beasts. One of the very few beasts in Spearhead.
Yeah, there are not many.
I think they were probably the only beast in the original sets. I know the new Khorne one has one.
Yep, obviously the new Nurgle has one.
Yeah.
Has a few, because they've got Beasts of Nurgle and the Nurglings are now beasts. Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Normally are.
I'm leaving that in, Robin.
Yeah, I think they are actually, yeah. There you go. Look at me and my knowledge.
You're ready for next year's quiz. No, you're doing next year's quiz, it's okay.
Oh, I'm going to make it so hard.
Oh, that's my worry.
Going back to after that little tangent, they get 3 attacks each, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, 1 rend, damage 1. So, not a little bad combat unit. Unfortunately, not a lot of dice for 4s and 3s. So they're not doing a massive amount. If they pass over a unit on a 4, they can do a mortal.
Is it each model that
Each
passes
module.
over? So you can do 3 mortals,
Yeah, potentially.
which is nice.
Which is nice. They've got, and unlike most models that have that ability,
can
they
do
actually have the movement to do it consistently.
I think you could easily have this unit either basically run them and basically the whole length of the board onto their back objective, do 3 mortals to a unit, or go, they move, run, and let's say you get a 6.
Yeah.
You move forward 10, you move backwards 10.
Yeah.
There's your mortals, they're still in the same place, hidden behind a unit, ready to do it again. That is what that unit is for. 5-up save, 6-up ward, don't expect it to stick round, don't expect it to do much damage, but the mobility is just got to be there for you somewhere.
Yeah. Your general could maybe do D3 damage with his magic attack, and then they could, like you say, quite easily pop over it, come back, another 3 mortals. That's killing some generals. And not a lot of generals have wards to be able to avoid it. So there's a nice little play with them there. But yeah, just not really much else you're doing with them.
No, they're a enemy territory, not combat, 3 inches in the back edge, take the flanks.
Grab an objective that's been left empty.
Yeah, just take with that warning. That's what they are for. You've got your Zangors. So again, when you have 2 units of 5 of these, move 6, 2 health, 5-up save, 1 control score. So basically, 20 health overall walking round, covered on the 2 units, but if something catches them, they're not lasting.
5-up save, no ward.
Yeah. Their attacks, they have 2 attacks each, so the whole unit would have 10. 4s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. I don't understand why these don't have rend.
Yeah, you'd think they'd probably have rend. They've got nice big swords.
I don't know what else that unit is for.
Apparently it's for fighting in enemy territory.
It is, because they do have an ability where they will get crit 2 hits if they are wholly within enemy territory. So again, that kind of what I've tried to play into, that those 2 units moved up, had a combat in enemy territory, so they got the crit 2 hit, probably didn't do any damage because they haven't got any rend. They retreat, you charge your acolytes in, die, you got a full unit, you charge them in again. They've not done much, but they've held up.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is, even with the crit 2 hits, that is just over 1.5 extra attacks.
Yeah.
So 2 across the units, basically.
And no rend. No way to give them
No
rend.
rend. Yeah.
I just think that they...
Low saving armies is not too bad, but anything elite.
Yeah.
We've got a battle report that might be coming out at some point if Duncan can force himself to relive it. But we found out that anything elite just doesn't... It just bounces off.
What in this army is doing anything else? Let's hope it's your Flamers of Tzeentch.
Yeah, so you got your last one, you got your Flamers of Tzeentch. 9 moves, so pretty speedy. 2 health each, 5+ save, and control score 1. Again, you get 3 models. They do have a 6-up ward, and they can fly. So they are pretty speedy little units. The main thing you got them for is their ranged weapons. 12-inch range, 3 attacks, 3s and 4s, no rend, unless you pick the trait to give them 1 rend, and then D3 damage. So, It's not a bad little shooting thing, but also it's only 9 dice.
Yeah.
If you lose one,
Yeah.
it's not ideal. Combat-wise, they've got their melee weapon. They get 3 attacks. 3s and 4s. Nothing rend. And damage 1. Now, they can add one to hit rolls for attacks made by the unit that target a unit that has 5 or more models. So, notably, that is both shooting and combat, which would make them 2s and 4s. But it's not the 3s that are the problems there. That's the issue. It's the 4s.
It's the 4s.
I'd probably have been better to add one to the wound rolls.
Yeah.
To make them 3s and 3s.
Yeah. The first game I played with these, I completely misused, and I think I charged them into something because I needed something to happen. And then I was like, no, you should just leave these back, just get as much shooting round as you can with all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Use your other things as the cannon fodder and just shoot and hope D3 damage spikes.
Yeah, just keep taking your pop shots. You probably only get a couple through, but that could still be 6 damage.
Yeah.
And they're pretty speedy, so you can kind of use them to maybe skirt objectives, skirt around the boards, do things. They're pretty quick. As you were saying earlier, this army's got... Its one strength is it's got loads of board presence. And it's a pretty fast army. You've got 2 units moving 14 that are flying and 1 unit moving 9 that's also flying. And then 3 units moving 5 and 6, but it's not bad for Spearhead.
No.
They're what's locking stuff up, and then the rest of your arm is sort of skirting the edges, taking pop shots at stuff, flying over, doing a little bit of chip damage.
I think the way you play this army is you be everywhere.
Yeah.
And you just hope you don't die quick enough.
Yeah, that is the issue.
Don't expect yourself to do any damage bonus when you do. And I would definitely say they are much more suited to Fire and Jade than Sand and Bone. And you just want to be taking the flanks, holding enemy territory, holding the objective long enough to score it, and you just hope you score quick.
Mm.
And as long as you score quicker than they kill you, shenanigans for models dying, models coming back,
Yep.
you got to use all of that, hope it works out for you, and then maybe you have a chance. But you probably don't.
So, painting, putting together, kind of how the army looks, what we given them. Obviously, I did none of this, you did all of it.
They were very easy to put together. Loved the Screamers of Tzeentch. I think they're maybe like 3 pieces each. Brilliant.
Notably as well, they also have a really funny base, don't they?
They have a see-through base.
Yes.
Yeah. It looks fake. It looks like you shouldn't be the proper base, but that is their base. Yeah, it's quite funny. So yeah, none of the army was particularly hard to put together. Painting it wasn't actually too bad. Another army, you could do a lot of detail to make it look good, but the beasts, you can just do a few colours, done. The other ones are a lot of skin and armour, shields. General's probably the hardest thing to paint. But even then, no, I enjoyed this army, painted it pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, remember you did it in a... You were like, I'm going to take them to Quest, and you put them and made them and painted them pretty quickly. And again, we're not the best painters in the world, but you painted them to a pretty nice standard.
So I would say for those 2 ticks, they are there because of the ease to put them together. And you could do a lot of details, make them look really cool, but you could also just get a few colours on and be on the board and ready.
I also think they kind of tick one for me in the fact of they aren't just dudes in armour. There's something to them. They look different. They look...
Good variation as well.
A nice little bit.
You've got your beasts, and then you've got your wizard on his disc.
His
and
weird
everything.
flying saucer thing. That
Yeah.
apparently has teeth.
Disc.
You could actually read that. Teeth.
Well, get used to that because that's like half of their new Spearhead's army is ones on discs.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say is I don't really think that the general is probably their most standout unit, and he isn't super impressive.
No.
He's a guy on a frisbee.
Here's a cool.
Let's face it, it's a very cool looking frisbee.
Yeah.
But he's a guy on a frisbee.
I'm leaning towards a 4.
Yeah, I think a 4. Again, you did most of it. The only other thing I could say is, like I say, it is a lot of models. If you are someone that likes to put a lot of effort into a lot of things, it could take you a long time to paint. If that's obviously a negative for you, maybe it's not great.
What is it? 27 models.
Yeah.
So that is, for Spearhead, that is quite a lot. That isn't just 20 clan rats, 20 skeletons, So, I mean, it is nice because they all are different as well. You're not ended up painting 20 of the same model. You've got 10 of one, 10 of another, 3 of one, 3 of one. So that is nice. But I think loses a few marks on no standout, and like you just said, a lot of models for that, but gains a lot on ease to do.
It just looks cool.
Yeah. Moving on to competitiveness, playability, fun.
I was thinking maybe 1.5, but maybe fun might push them up to 2. But I've not actually used the army. I've played against it and smashed it pretty thoroughly. So I'll let you decide.
Well, if you'd have asked me at the end of that smashing game, I'd have given them a 0.5. But after I took them to Quest, had 2 games, even if I hadn't won them, I just had good games because I survived it and did well. It made me fonder of this army, but I bet if I played another army that just hard counters it, I would instantly be like, 0.5 again. So I was probably thinking a 1.5 as well.
Yeah, I think with this army it's one of those armies where you need 1,000,001 things to work for it to be slightly above average.
See, that's the thing, is to work, and you still might lose that game. That's what I feel like. It's an army you could do everything right and still lose, and it's not fun being stomped and you doing nothing back to them. I am just hoping that the new Tzeentch list is a more competitive for one, because I really like the army and I love the whole Destiny dice thing. There's a lot of things I really like until you put it on the table and play it, and then you go, nah, it doesn't work.
So that is the Disciples of Tzeentch.
Do give us a like on YouTube or wherever you are potentially listening to this on, because we are a podcast as well. If you're watching on YouTube, you can just listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music.
They must watch the black screen.
It's not a black screen. I deliberately put things up so it's slightly interesting. And if there is any armies or any debate topics that you want us to talk about and go through, then we do try and see if we can do them as soon as we can. So pop in the comments which army or thing you want us to talk about, and we'll get on that.
Yeah.
Outro, Robin.
Outro. Give me a second to pull the Google up, because believe it or not, this is not a song I'm particularly familiar with. Say my name. Say my name. If no one is around you, say, babe, I love you. If you ain't running the game, say my name. Say my name. It's Destiny's Child.
I'm assuming it was Destiny's Child.
Yeah. Destiny.
Yeah.
Tzeentch is all about. We're all Tzeentch's children, and he's all about destiny.
Terrible outro, Robin. Is that?
I mean, if I actually sung it, you'd probably get it a bit, but I'm not singing it.
I know.
I don't want us to get copyright.
When you're going.